Today we will detour back to Aigle, the Napoleonic online campaign from 2023 and 24, and some of the mechanics behind it. Hello comrades and peers. Tim Kirk asked some days ago about the spreadsheet that was shown at the end of the review, Le Vol d'Aigle. You will find a link on this video to the end of this video for easy reference. I use this Excel spreadsheet to monitor all movements and conditions of Austrian and French divisions in our online test campaign. I'll give you a quick rundown of the table and explain its basic structure. I'm still considering whether to post a version online. But I've had not quite positive experience with it. I initially downloaded another Wargamers bloggers spreadsheet, but quickly realized I didn't quite meet my needs. There are different approaches you can take, and it's generally better to create something that suits yourself. But feel free to leave a comment if you would like a template. The spreadsheet has 7 tabs. One for the campaign itself, one for the commanders, 4 for the army lists, and 1 for unit labels. The 4 army lists stem from the fact that I initially didn't know whether to use regiments or divisions as a basic game unit. I therefore set up both versions, but quickly realized that the number of figures at the regiment level could easily overwhelm my supply of painted miniatures. The army lists are written for total emperor, and I have tried to adapt them according to the values of Le Vol d'Aigle, as well as the book 1809 Thunder at the Danube by John H. Gill. The Austrians have a few more points for the campaign, but they are also the invaders into Bavaria. I had compiled the commanders of both sides into a table to assign them behavioral values in case they had to act without orders. However, only a few found themselves in this situation. I borrowed the behavioral model from Programmed Wargames Scenarios 2nd edition by Charles S. Grant. In an unclear command situation, the commander rolls 2d6 against the command rating, as in Black Powder. If they roll over, they follow the assigned preferences. Otherwise, they adhere to the wording of the given orders. This is intended to help to prevent generals from stoically following orders that no longer fit the situation. The centerpiece of the spreadsheet is the campaign overview. Columns A to F and H contain the game data for all units. This data is predefined in Le Vol d'Aigle, and I have adapted it as is. In addition to the column for morale, I have added a column for fatigue, where the exhaustion suffered per turn is recorded. This is usually done using a formula that sums up all the daily values to maintain clarity. This is followed by columns for combat loss and moral loss of the units. These usually only occur after a battle and are therefore adjusted less frequently. The light blue columns are formula fields. The first one calculates the current manpower in efficiency points, taking fatigue and losses into account. Fatigue reduces the number of deployable soldiers, with 1 point of fatigue corresponding to 1% loss of manpower. The second value represents the current morale and only subtracts the morale loss from the starting value. Column M shows the location of each unit. Initially, I noted a single point, but as the campaign progressed, the entries became more complex. I entered the movement itself directly on an overlay of the campaign map. This way, you usually only need to calculate the leading unit, and the rest follows behind. The column next to it only shows whether the unit has already moved in the round or not. Otherwise, it's too easy to lose track. Alternatively, you could use a start and an end point as columns. But this worked too. Once in a while, I got a bit bogged down and closed the file without saving because I'd lost track. Starting over was a better option then. In column O, the B indicates that the unit was involved in a current battle. The next two columns represent the losses generated in battle, according to the game system. These are then added to the existing losses. The last columns then convert the game values from Le Vol de Aigle into the tabletop values from Total Emperor. Therefore, each unit normally has 8 hit points, and these are adjusted proportionally based on losses suffered and morale. Today I would simply subtract the actual losses and reduce the unit's quality according to the morale value. That seems more appropriate to me. However, this detail depends on the miniature wargame being used. Ideally, it would also have values for unit strength and morale. Le Vol de Aigle also has its own miniature wargame system, which I haven't tried out yet. I will also go into the second and the third part of the series in campaign system, which I really like in due course. But that will probably take some time. Anyone who made it this far is really ambitious. The video was a bit unusual, but I definitely wanted to answer the question adequately. I hope this was successful. Till then, and take care.